Town, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, a weekly recap of the 2021 Philadelphia Flyers from Blue Line to Blue Line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions, Hand and Stone Spa, The Capitol Grill, Pat Dion Beverages, Independence Blue Cross, Chickies and Pete's, and Joseph Anthony Salon and Day Spa. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyers captain Keith Primo.
And welcome to Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown. Beautiful location for Independence Blue Cross On the Ice. This week as the Flyers have won 8 of their last 10 games. We'll spend the next hour talking Flyer hockey. We couldn't really get any guests tonight, so two slugs have decided to show up. My co-host tonight is former Flyer captain Keith Primo. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I actually bummed out about the guests, too, because all we could do is pull someone from the Legion of Doom off the Flyer scrap heap, and one of the great Flyers of all time, 3-time 50-goal scorer, Mr. John LeClair. How are you, Johnny?
I'm good, Paul. Thanks.
Good stuff. And, guys, 8 out of 10. I mean, do we raise Lord Stanley's Cup in our minds yet? I mean, obviously, no tanking, Keith. They're not going after Connor Bedard. They're going after whatever. My theory is, and my theory means nothing compared to yours, but John Tortorella's system is kicking in. The young players are getting confidence. The lights turned on. What do you think is the reason for this turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, probably an acceptance of Tort's style and systems and maturation of some of the younger players and the return of some injured players and this season has ups and downs, and right now they're playing some pretty good hockey.
Johnny, what do you think?
Yeah. They're definitely playing really well right now. I mean, the thing on the Flyers when they came out, they had such a hard camp. They're going to get a jump on everybody, but they're playing with that same tempo that they're a tough out every night. I mean, the Boston, I think that game was different. Boston's on a different level.
They really are.
Boston's on a different level, but, the Flyers, they play hard every night. There's no easy ones. And I thought the interesting to me was the back-to-back against the Caps. Maybe they caught the Caps, thinking that, the first one. But the second game, they beat them. And, the Caps are ready for them. And, they're there.
You guys both were pretty good young players that became pretty good players, period. But do you remember when you were coming into the NHL, Keith, you got a son, Caden, that's kind of bouncing back and forth now. And it seems like sometimes the light turns on and you just jump to another level because of something not apparent to anybody watching, but it happens to all players, it seems. Do you remember when the light turned on for you and what made it happen?
I think it's just opportunity and experience. It takes time to get used to the grind, and I think that's one of the hallmarks of the group that we had. We had some good young players come in, and because of the veteran leadership, we taught these guys how to be pros. And I thought we were grooming all these guys to help us win a Stanley Cup. And they all went off and won Stanley Cups elsewhere. Justin Williams and Simon Gagne and Nolan Pratt. There's just an endless number of guys that Rusty Fedotenko, Patrick Sharp. There was literally 6-8 young players.
Yeah,
Dennis Seidenberg.
And those guys didn't just tag along. They were big parts of those cup runs.
Yeah, exactly.
There's somebody else at this table right now. There's a pretty big part of a Stanley Cup before he got to Philadelphia. The three of us had 2 overtime goals combined in the 93 finals. I had none. Keith had none. You had 2. You won a Stanley Cup before you got to the Flyers. The lights seemed to go on for you, but then you had the 50-goal seasons. When do you think you will actually move to the next level that you clearly got to?
Well, I mean, I think Preem said it perfectly. It's got a lot to do with opportunity and experience. And when I was in Montreal, I was still kind of a kid. I was blessed that I won a Stanley Cup, but I learned a lot from those guys, like the Carboneaus, Scrudlins, and Mike McPhee's. They taught me a lot. And I think I came here I got a great opportunity, and I think I was a little bit mature than I was, the maturity level as far as my game when I got here too.
How big a part of your career was Fish?
Fish?
Yeah.
The group?
Yeah.
They were great supporters of my tournament in the summertime for my golf tournament I had.
You have a foundation in Vermont, don't you?
Yeah, we started that back when I was in Montreal, and we kept it going. We did it for 10 years. And it's still going now. When we were making money, we only handed out half the money we raised, and now we have a fund that we give out every year around Christmas time.
That's cool.
Yep.
Obviously, the Flyers are in this little surge. Sam Urson has played some tremendous goaltender. Keith, you're familiar with Sam Urson. You got a son who's a kind of a compadre of his on a different team. They have a difficult decision to make when Felix Sandstrom comes back from his conditioning because he has to come through waivers and Sam Urson doesn't. They could send Felix Sandstrom somewhere else. They can bring Sam Urson down through waivers. What do you think they do?
Personally, the game isn't always fair, especially for young players. So it works in Sandstrom's favor. It doesn't work in Urson's favor. So it might be, and again, it's a small body of work. So they may want to have him marinate a little bit longer, and it may just be a circumstance of the situation that they're in reverse of what maybe they should be.
You guys played together at not one point, many points during your Flyer careers. Johnny, obviously the Legion of Doom clicked from day one. Certain guys click with certain other guys. You play with Keith, you play with many people. What is it about a line that sometimes you zig when they zag, sometimes you zig when they zig? What's chemistry in your opinion? It's hard to define, isn't it?
It is. I think it's you find spots that certain guys you just kind of they're going to go there. They have that hockey sense where they're going to break or they're going to either hold up the defenseman, little things like that. When they play the same kind of thing like you are, where they'll use the picks or those two guys, we know he's not really going to forecheck. This guy's going to be, and you kind of know where he's going to be in an area. Those things help a lot to me.
Yeah, you get into a rhythm, and you become like kindred spirits. It's you can't play with everybody, and
no, I couldn't play with anybody.
and I think back at some of the guys I had real success with, Simone, Rex, Sammy Kapanen, and Ray Shepard was another guy I played with a lot in Carolina, and you just kind of get on the same wavelength, like Johnny said, and things just click, and you know where the guy's going to be, and he knows where you're going to be, and then it ends up in the back of the net.
One of the funniest things about that is it's probably like one of the most popular things guys bitch about with each other is I can't play with this guy.
Yeah, it's so true.
They come back and they're like, this guy, he's killing me. I have no idea where he's going.
And it just is. It's just some karma decides that. With you and Eric and Michael, when did you know that this was more than a 5-game experiment?
When they were beating up on everybody.
The first game we played, nothing really. It was nothing. It really wasn't. And then we played a game 2 days later in Jersey, and we had a real good game. It was kind of going, and then it just kept building. But it was pretty instant as far as the chemistry. There was something there.
It was the hardest line for me to ever defend against because they're just so big, so strong. I'd spend the whole game in the defensive zone. And you were if you got out of there -1, you were happy.
But is it a situation, I know you played on it, Johnny, and you're obviously not going to toot your own horn, but I am. I know in football, I played back in the day, whatever. Sometimes you got to pick a guy in the offense and put your defense on him, double this receiver, double that receiver, basketball, box a guy or whatever. But it seems like the Legion of Doom line, Keith, you want to take Eric, you want to take Johnny, you want to take Renberg, you want to put extra emphasis on that. The other two are going to kill you. How hard is it to get all three of them boxed in?
Yeah, you couldn't. That's why they were so good and so dominant. I'm trying to match up against these 3'6'3", 220-pound guys with Sammy Kapanen and Martin Jelena on my wings, and then on defense, it's not like I had Hatch or or 6'5" defenseman to crush them. So you just can't contain it.
How are the players? You always talk in football how people evolve, nutrition, people are bigger. It seems like people evolve over time. Are the players, you guys both played about 20 years ago, or are the players of today better than when you guys played? Or it seems to me that they're not. That hockey players are hockey players. Training may improve, equipment may improve, other stuff may improve, but people are basically people. And in other sports, sometimes that's not the case. In my opinion, in hockey, it is the case. Is my opinion valid, John?
Oh, I think so. I mean, you're talking like personality-wise, or are you talking skill-wise?
Skill-wise.
Oh boy, they're much skilled there. I think it's pretty obvious that the skill level and the speed of the game, it's much different.
If it's, the skill that the players have, yeah, but the players themselves, the raw material, is it something that you guys were not trained to do, that these guys are? What makes the skill level higher? Because bodies are bodies, and
yeah, there's a lot different now. I mean, I played 3 sports growing up. I had a free moment. If it was in the fall, we're playing football. We're not playing hockey. I mean, these guys are getting special trainers, strength coach, and things like that at 12. It's a lot. It's different, I think.
It's really specialized, and the kids work on their skill sets all season long, all summer long. And we were from an era more, I believe, to be more competitive, just because of the way the rules were. And now it's all about offense. It's all about showcasing skill. It's all about the entertainment. It's all and these kids, some of the stuff you see them do with the puck, I couldn't do any of that. None of it.
Well, I just watched the World Juniors, and obviously Connor Bedard, the one kid that everybody's watching for Canada, the guy's going to be the first pick, barring getting hurt or whatever in the NHL draft. And the more I watch this kid, I've seen him before play a bunch. I mean, I can't lie to you, Johnny. He looks like he's 10. And when I watch him play, I'm like, I'm getting beaten by a midget. I'm getting beat by a 4-year-old. I mean, This kid looks like he's so highly skilled. How does he compare? Obviously, he's seen as generational by some people. You got to prove it in the NHL. Is he another McDavid? Not skill-wise, but goal-scoring-wise. Who do you compare him to?
I mean, everybody's comparing him to McDavid. What he's doing in the junior level is McDavid-like. I don't know if I'd go that far without playing an NHL game, but, I mean, McDavid's on a different level than everybody. So if that kid can even be compared with him, I think he's going to be a franchise player. From what I can, if everything kind of goes the way it's gone in the past, I would think he would be a franchise player.
Keith, when you watch McDavid play, we were talking before the show, and you said you watch him play, and he's with a team that just can't get themselves out of harm's way in the playoffs sometimes. Plays with Draisaitl. They got other good players on that team. But if you were a great player on a very average team, couldn't get over the top, and it was put upon you, people don't say Edmonton failed. They say McDavid failed. How tough is that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a massive part of their organization and that team, and he clearly wants to have success, and it's unfortunate because a lot of times great players aren't recognized as great players until they've ultimately won a championship. And I remember playing with Stevie Yzerman, and he was his 13th, 14th year pro before he won a Stanley Cup, and people were like, he's not the player or not the leader or that that we thought he was or should be, and he's a guy who was a perennial 50-goal scorer, reinvented his game in order to win a Stanley Cup, but I didn't ever feel that was a fair assessment of if he would have never won a Stanley Cup, he still was one of the greatest players that ever played. So McDavid's gonna have those comparisons until he wins a championship. Is it in Edmonton? I don't know.
How did you guys feel about being great players, but the team never getting over the hump while you were there? Obviously, you got over the hump in Montreal, but not here. Put up incredible numbers here. Something went wrong every year, obviously. What was that like for you, John?
It's incredibly frustrating. I mean, I had my best years playing here in Philadelphia, and you fell in love with the city as, wanted to be a Flyer, was proud to be a Flyer. So it's disappointing that we never were able to win a championship here. It really is.
You, Keith?
Yeah, I mean, I came here for a pretty popular player, and I felt that I was brought here to help bring a championship, and we were close a couple times and fell short, and so it's a sour pill to swallow.
We're going to talk on the other side about another sour pill to swallow about last night, way different than what these guys are talking about. Ivan Provorov, we got to get into it in a little bit. We'll talk about it, the rights of people against the rights of people to react to the rights of people. We'll talk about that. You're listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, live from Chickies and Pete's, right here on 1490 WBCB. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. Morgan Frost for his highlight between the legs goal last night versus Anaheim. Flyers win again. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. We're living fearless with John LeClair and my co-host Keith Primo from Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown, and we are back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Our seasonal menu items are now available at all Chickie and Pete's locations. Enjoy our pork belly tacos, or share a plate of South Philly crab fries featuring our world-famous crab fries and cheese sauce, topped with porchetta-style pork belly, fried onion, and shaved provolone. Don't miss our specialty cocktails, like the stateside mint chocotini or our cranberry margarita. Details at chickiesandpete's.com. Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyers captain Keith Primo.
All righty, back here at Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown. A lot of people coming out here to see Johnny and Keith tonight. Thanks for coming. We're here every Wednesday, 6 to 7, at a different Chickie and Pete's. We moved to Chickies and Pete's on the Boulevard, 11,000 Roosevelt Boulevard next week. It's time now for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Scott Lawton has 5 power play goals this season. First 9 years of his career, he had Ziponski, 0, 5 this season. Sometimes a player just needs a chance. Good stuff, Scotty. That was your Flyers Smart Stat of the Week, once again brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today, 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions, catering to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. John LeClair, Keith Primo, you guys both played the power play a whole lot. How bad do guys in camp, whatever, how bad do people want to be on the power play where the getting is good?
I mean, you want to score goals. I mean, if you want to score, you want the best opportunity, and obviously you're going to get a better chance on the power play.
Yep.
And I was on the power play, but I wasn't a power play specialist like Johnny was, and later in my career, I became more of a defensive forward and took tremendous pride in killing penalties. But yeah, the money is made on the power play.
And John Tortorella, the Flyer coach, obviously demands you can play both ends of the ice. There's no just offensive players for the Flyers. He's benched everybody this year. Konechny, Kevin Hayes, who could be dealt at the deadline. If you don't play his way, it's the highway. John Tortorella is did you guys ever have a coach like him? I mean, there's plenty of tough coaches around, plenty of every kind of coach. Who's a coach that you would compare most to Tortorella, Keith?
John?
Well, to me, I had Burnsy, too.
Oh, jeez.
Pat Burns was
a policeman, right?
He was an ex-cop, and Burnsy, he ran things pretty strict. And if you're a rookie or a younger player there, he made it a little bit harder on you too than normally he had to.
I think probably for me the closest comparable would be Hitch. Hitch at times wasn't the easiest guy to get along with, but I always the message. I just remember JR all the time being in the back of the bus, complaining and whining about how Hitch was being hard on him, and I'm like, don't listen so much to the delivery, listen to the message, and he was, but that was Hitch and that was JR.
What about the mind games a coach can play with you? I mean, you can score 12 goals in a game, and after the game, someone like me can say, what's it like to see a guy score 12 goals in a game? And they'll say in the second period in the corner, didn't go as hard as he had to, and that's the kind of thing I'm taking out of the game. What's it like when your coach looks the other way and kind of plays a verbal parry with you, Johnny?
Well, to me, I think only a coach would do that because he knows his players well and he knows how to read players. That's what might motivate some guys. Some guys, it might put them in a hole, and you made it 10 times worse. So, that to me comes down to the coach really getting an understanding of the personalities that he has on the roster.
Yeah, Keith?
Yeah, that for sure. And a lot of times coaches look at games as X's and O's, less about who the individual is. So if you scored 12 goals, he doesn't really care. He's looking at the details. He wants to see where he can make the team better and make corrections.
All right, there's a big detail from last night. We have to address it. Not necessarily what we do this show for, but Ivan Provorov on Pride Night did not skate in pregame warm-ups with the sticks, with the stripes, and the Flyers celebrating Pride. Scott Lawton and James Van Riemsdyk did a special thing after the game for people like that, but Provorov chose not to skate. He did play in the game. John Tortorella said he has the right to do what he wants. This is America. My personal point of view is, listen, I might disagree with what Provorov did, but I don't disagree at all with his right to do whatever he wants. People have a right to react however they want. It's not illegal. He should have been able to play. The laundry will come out in the long term one way or the other. If you play great, nobody's going to care. Either you guys, whatever's on your mind about that, fly away, Keith.
I mean, my opinion is he's not admonishing inclusivity. He's just making a statement that his religious beliefs are different than what that message is.
Yep.
And so he's well within his right to have his own opinion, and he shouldn't be crucified for having an opinion different than somebody else's.
John?
Yeah, I'm kind of like there. It's like, that's his personal choice. He's doing it for a reason and his beliefs. And that's what we, the whole country, the thing we built this country, people have a right to believe in what they believe in.
They do, but you also have a right to react to people however you want. People sometimes forget that whoever has a right to do whatever, but
he's not reacting in a negative way towards them.
I'm not saying it is or isn't. I'm just saying when he takes flack, the people have the right
They have
to
the right to react.
Did you guys ever do something on the ice or off the ice where you had every right to do it and you were perfectly within your rights and everybody thought, what an idiot, or something like that?
It's just little things. Like when my kids were young, sometimes people would be inappropriate and get me at the wrong time for an autograph or something like that. And it's like, buddy, I got my 2 little kids with me and I'm having a hard time just keeping track of one. So, maybe an incident like that.
Keith, you have a son in the NHL. I mean, did he ever get ripped and the father looks
So he actually, in the era of social media, it's easy to
Twitter
to make a misstep, right?
Yeah.
And and Caden's always been very good about, he's for clean oceans, and people love that. But then as soon as he likes or comments on on a statement that's in line with his religious or political beliefs, he has been attacked, and he's okay with it.
I mean, social media has changed the world, obviously. I assume both of you guys have a social media presence, but there's no winning on social media. I mean, I do it, everybody else does it, but it seems like no matter what you say, there's 18 million people who are going to come down on you on either side anyway. Is there any way to win, Johnny, on social media?
There isn't. I mean, there's things that I think it's funny or whatever, and you want to I don't, so I just stay away from it because it's not worth the headache of somebody being like, oh, you're a Trumper or you're a liberal, or it's like, no, I thought it was funny. People kind of lost their minds a little bit with that stuff. So
completely.
It's not that. I just think it's better to stay out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter, but I'm not on them. I'm there maybe to follow my kids' pictures, family pictures. I don't have Facebook. It's really a very small percentage of my day.
I mean, you could literally go on Twitter. I use Twitter. I don't use Instagram, and say the American flag is red, white, and blue, and you get 38 responses saying no, it's yellow, orange, and black, and you just look and say, you just want to be different, don't you? I mean, it is what it is, and we talked about Keith having a son, Caden, in the Montreal Canadiens organization with the Canadiens now, and Johnny, what are your kids doing?
Yeah. All three of them are working. I got two working up in New York City, and then I got one locally working here.
Wall Street?
No, my daughter's in the entertainment business,
cool.
with productions of events, and my other son he's working in the sports industry.
Wow. All right, good stuff. Keith, you mentioned your son was called up and hasn't played a whole lot. To me, people play hockey or any sport to play. Nobody wants to not play, but then again, teams have their motive. You're obviously in competition with other people doing the same thing. As a parent, how frustrating is that? And as a player, how frustrating is that?
I think last year was more frustrating, because he's still, trying to prove his worth, and he wants to play. He's a young player, and this year, as I said earlier, the game isn't always fair, right? And he's ready, he's there, he wants to get a start, but the other guy's playing well, so you got to wait for your turn. So that's what professional sports is. For the player, it's for sure frustrating, right? They want to be out there, they want to contribute, they want to play. It's the competitive side of the sport, but sometimes you got to wait your turn.
Johnny, if I remember, and I might remember incorrectly due to my advanced age, but last year when we had you were coaching the 3-on-3 team.
Yeah.
How is that? What's going on with that?
That went really well. Last summer there was a professional 3-on-3 league. It was a lot of AHL, East Coast League guys, and it was just 3-on-3 overtime. Changed a few rules to keep the place and play moving, and it was pretty successful. We're doing it again this year. We're going to be on Wednesday nights instead of Saturday afternoons. I think that's going to help a lot. Saturday afternoons at 4 o'clock was not an ideal television sports viewing time. So this summer we're going to do it on Wednesday nights.
You got a TV deal?
They've had TV deal in Canada, Europe, and the U.S.
They paid the players pretty well. Caden had a couple Northeastern teammates play in that.
Did he play with Hawk?
He played with Hawk, and he played with Jake Toit.
Okay.
So,
Toit's a good goal.
Who do you get to play goalie in this league? 3-on-3 is impossible.
The goalie, you mean? I'm sorry, what was the
goalies, yeah. How do you find goalies that want to play in that league?
You'd be surprised. But yeah, they get a lot of shots. But they did well. But the league did well. We got some new coaches this year. Ray Bork's jumping on board with the other Hall of Famers that are there. So we're looking forward to it. So yeah, check it out. Anybody listening, it's on CBS Sports.
If somebody came up to you and down the road somewhere and said, do you want to be an assistant in the NHL, the right job offer, the right time, head coach, whatever, do you think it's something you'd listen to?
I think, right now things have slowed down enough that I would take it. I wouldn't mind getting back into hockey, but I don't know if an assistant coach job is, my calling. I know how things work now. That I don't think that's where I'd best be utilized.
Where would you want to?
I think I could do the scouting thing. I think a pro scout. I think watching some of these teams, how they evaluate some of the pro talent, I understand there's cap space and there's things that you got to equal out, but some of that I think I could handle.
How often do you guys skate? Both of you skate often?
Never.
Well, I know you with the concussions.
Yeah, I haven't had my gear on since the day I retired.
Skating?
I skated because I coached my boys, but I mean even the outdoor classic when we had the winter classic, I didn't play in that game. I just can't. I can't go back there and.
Not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk.
Johnny, I remember a conversation I had with Keith after the winter classic. I happened to be walking out of Citizens Bank Park, and Keith came up to me and goes, "How the hell do you get out of here? There's a little bit of a maze in the basement." And I took him out, and we were talking the whole time and talked about a guy that you played with who had concussions. It's one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. Can you tell that story?
So it wasn't somebody I played with. It was a story I knew, and it was a kid who had played Canadian University and had to stop playing because of concussions. A couple years go by and started feeling better, and decides to go out and play, with his buddies on a Saturday night, and slides in the end boards and becomes suicidal.
And killed himself.
Yeah, and I mean, that really hit home.
It's home in all sports, concussions. We all saw what happened with the Cincinnati Bengals the other night, a couple weeks ago. Happened again Monday night to a lesser extent. Sports are dangerous. These guys came through okay. John LeClair is with us. Keith Primo is with us at Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown. The Independence Blue Cross on the ice. When we are back, second half of our show comes up following this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Our seasonal menu items are now available at all Chickie and Pete's locations. Enjoy our pork belly tacos or share a plate of South Philly crab fries featuring our world famous crab fries and cheese sauce, topped with porchetta style pork belly, fried onion, and shaved provolone. Don't miss our specialty cocktails like the stateside mint chocotini or our cranberry margarita. Details at chickiesandpete's.com. Chickies and Pete's.
I'm always striving to live my healthiest life, so I need a health plan that has my back. With Independence Blue Cross, I get access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free virtual doctor visits 24/7. Plus, with premiums as low as $0 per month, I can stay on top of my health and keep my budget in check. Independence has given me coverage I can count on, and they'll do the same for you. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyers captain Keith Primo.
All righty, back here at Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown, the Independence Blue Cross On the Ice with John LeClair and Keith Primo, talking to some fans and having some fun. I want to mention two high schools, if I could, for you guys out there, and you tell me what they have in comparison, then I'll tell you. Laney High School, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Bellows Free Academy in Vermont.
Bob White's.
There we are, two of the greatest schools in the history of sports, because Laney High School's basketball team cut Michael Jordan as a sophomore. I wouldn't want to have to play them if they got 12 guys better than Michael Jordan. And Bellows Free Academy somehow couldn't find a spot on their team for John LeClair. Probably wouldn't want to play that hockey team either, Keith. What was it like to be cut from your high school team and then go on to become not a good NHL player, but a great NHL player? Some guys develop later than others, huh?
It does. I mean, truthfully, our team, I wouldn't have made the team. They were good. They were really good. They were that good. Our coach was Red Gendron. Red Gendron was an assistant coach with the Devils. He coached minor league teams, and he was the head coach at University of Maine, and unfortunately passed away. But Red did me a favor. He told me, he's like, "Kid, you're going to play for me. Don't worry about it. But you're going to go play Bantam and go play every night instead of playing." Because high school, you don't play as many games.
So you're mature enough to realize that now, but the day he cut you...
I was pissed. I was pissed.
Who else was on that team that was that good? Just guys at that time?
Just guys, that time
older.
In Vermont that were good, for our area. It's Vermont high school, too. It's not the most competitive league.
For people who aren't geography freaks, Vermont is right next to the Canadian border. I've talked about you with some people who say it's from Vermont, like it's 900 miles from Montreal, but how far is Vermont? How far from where you grew up? I guess in St. Albans. How far is Canada? How far is Montreal?
The border's 10 miles away, so
Wow.
it took you 10 miles to get to the border, 10 minutes. And to get to Montreal, when I played there, I'd go home all the time. It was about an hour.
How far are you from the U.S. border where you grew up, Keith?
About either way, probably about 2 hours. About 1,000 Islands around the top side of Lake Ontario or Niagara Falls.
1,000 Islands?
The 1,000 Islands Bridge.
What is that, a salad dressing?
No, it's a beautiful part of it. It's a beautiful area.
1,000 Islands?
Oh, yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Right on the St. Lawrence, and you look down, and you caught the summer homes and the...
You were just going to say something there that interests me. I did stand up for a while, and I like things that make no sense, kind of like Seinfeld. Why are summer houses called cottages in Canada and summer houses here? Nobody ever has a cottage in Wilmington or in Avalon or anywhere along the Jersey Shore, not that Wilmington is, but people in Canada have cottages. What's the deal with that?
And I'll put a spin on even more. The people in Montreal call their cottages country homes or...
Country homes?
Yeah. Vermont, they call them camps.
Yeah,
camps?
Yeah, so it's actually a little quandary.
I told you about my connection with Vermont, right?
What's that?
My father was Patrick Leahy's first administrative assistant, top aide.
Yeah,
when he came in the Senate.
Right.
In fact, Keith and I have not necessarily the greatest part of life. Both our parents are going to assisted living. My dad's 92, mom's 91. I was down in Washington today. Have to go again next week, obviously. That's part of life, though. Life rolls on, right, Keith?
Yeah, and like what we've gone through the last 3 years here, it's amazing how much for me personally, my parents have aged. And it's just it's the cycle of life, and we just feel that timing is right because my dad's starting to lose his memory and needs to know where he's at when he's fully lost his memory.
Same thing with my mom. My mom spoke, I'm not joking, with 20 languages fluently, everything in the world. She was in the POW camp in World War II, and now she's got dementia. And it's a tough part of life, Johnny. Are your parents living?
My mom's still alive, so I go see her. But that's tough. I mean, I don't. My dad didn't pass by that, but dementia's it's a tough one. It
Very
really
tough.
is.
Yep. And obviously with a head injury, it's not dementia. With concussions, they really play Keith. Some people are lucky, some people aren't. There's no other way to slice it. You all take shots. You all get hit in the head, pucks, boards, whatever. What was the worst head injury you ever suffered, and are you completely okay today?
I don't know if I'm okay. That's a loaded question. Yeah. I got knocked out cold in Montreal my rookie year. Jeff Bucherboom came down. I woke up in the training room. They dragged me off. But back then, I practiced like 3 days later, and I was in the lineup a week later.
Keith, people always say, what's a concussion? A concussion is, I guess, when your brain moves, and there are people that take hellacious shots that get up like nothing happened, and other people like Dale Earnhardt in NASCAR tap the wall and are killed. I mean, does the randomness of it ever intrigue you? It intrigues me.
So to me, if bumping your head and jumping back up doesn't mean you don't have a concussion.
Right.
So there's that. But for the longest time, people would ask me like, are you afraid for what the future holds? And I said, well, I don't know what my future holds. I hope that that I don't deteriorate soon or fast.
You're fine now, obviously.
Yeah, and I've worked really hard to get back to where I am, but it was a long road. Like even when I retired, people the headaches don't just go away.
See, that's interesting to me. You say you worked hard to get back where you are. It seems like this isn't something you can work on.
No, I think there's things different.
What can you do?
So, there's again, no two concussions are alike. So there's different causes. Could be neck, could be jaw, could be brain, could be. So you just have to find the things that are going to give you the most relief and success, and that's one thing I was afforded with the Flyers was during my retirement speech, I think I thanked 20 professionals, medical professionals,
wow.
Doctors, traditional, non-traditional, Eastern, Western medicines, and so I was searching. I searched for a long time to find things that would help me get better.
Well, glad you are getting better. And Johnny, when you played, you and Keith both, you obviously hit a lot of people. We always see helmet hits in the NFL, crown of the helmet. In hockey, there's some, Tom Wilson, the Caps, is known for punishing hits. A million guys are. What's it like when you're about to hit somebody and you know there's a potential they could get hurt? Obviously, this can't all go through your brain in a tenth of a second you have, but have you ever said, I'm going to hurt somebody in your mind and still going on with a hit? Because pro sports happens like that. What's that like?
Me personally, I don't know if it portrayed that way, but I was a guy, I wouldn't take advantage of somebody like that. It just, there's ways, if you know you're going to hurt somebody, you can kind of grab them or you do something. You wouldn't, because there's opportunities sometimes you can just really hurt somebody.
Yeah.
And you just, I don't know. Back then you didn't do it either. You just didn't. It would. I don't know. You just kind of had that respect for everybody. You'd hit them hard. Like if you could crush a guy, you would. But like if a guy didn't see you, sometimes you kind of you'd hit him in the chest instead of hitting him in the head. That kind of thing, knock the wind out of him. Hopefully, little things like that. I think we had a lot of respect.
I'm not going to lie. It surprises me sometimes that these elbows guys take at 30 miles an hour that don't see them at all. Somebody can get killed with that very, very easily, and it's a miracle that hasn't happened. Is it a miracle to you, Keith?
It's a dangerous sport, right? And we're thankful that it doesn't happen more often. And I think as the game gets cleaned up, it happens less and less. And Johnny's right in that you never took advantage of situations. You certainly wanted to hit guys as hard as you could, but you never intentionally wanted to injure a guy. But you always felt good when you made good contact.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But like I said, the game is they're moving in a different direction, and I think it's all positive.
All right, we'll talk about the Flyers in a second. We'll ask these guys something about a couple of the Flyers and how they're playing today. But Johnny, we know about Keith. Keith is currently the co-host of probably the top-rated radio hockey show in the world. And does some other things.
I was wondering how he got this gig.
What do you know about you? We just talked about your kids. What are you doing today? Everybody says, "What's John LeClair up to?" Time's yours.
Yeah, the 3-on-3's been a lot of fun. Done that during the summer and some of the other stuff with it last year, getting it going. It was a lot of fun. So that's keeping me busy and there's a lot of things around the house, a lot of little projects that I got going that keep the day filled.
How much are you still a Flyer? Obviously, Flyer at heart forever, but do you go to the games? Do you feel like a Flyer walking around Wayne or Newtown Square, wherever?
I think once you're a Flyer, you're always a Flyer. Kind of holds true. I do feel like I'm a Flyer. I don't go down to the games. I don't know the last time I've been down to a game, but I root for all the home teams. I was at the World Series games rooting for the Phillies. I'm a huge Red Sox fan. So, you like to see the home team do well. It makes it interesting, brings a lot of buzz to the city. So,
Phillies and Red Sox playing the World Series. You're rooting for?
There's no question. There's only so far you can be told. Come on.
Red Sox aren't very good right now, Keith. Could be a while before they get back. You never know.
It'll
They got plenty of money.
It'll be a long time.
My Blue Jays beat up on them.
He did.
They did.
Certainly did.
Everybody's next year is going to beat up on them.
Well, they could. Red Sox kind of taking a backseat to the Yankees and some other teams right now. Good that you're into other sports. We'll talk about hockey, the sport you're most into, and take a look at some of the Flyers and what Keith and Johnny think of them. This is the Independence Blue Cross on the ice from Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown. We'll come back with the final segment in 1 minute and 46 seconds. Try me.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Our seasonal menu items are now available at all Chicky and Pete's locations. Enjoy our pork belly tacos or share a plate of South Philly crab fries featuring our world famous crab fries and cheese sauce, topped with porchetta style pork belly, fried onion, and shaved provolone. Don't miss our specialty cocktails like the stateside mint chocotini or our cranberry margarita. Details at chickiesandpete's.com. Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyers captain Keith Primo.
Having a good time with Keith and John tonight. A lot of people coming out to Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown. We appreciate it. We're at the Boulevard next week, 11,000 Roosevelt Boulevard. We'll have a guest that we'll mention next week. And Keith, the Flyers have a guy that we gave the stat of the week to. Scotty Lawton scored 5 power play goals this year. He's emerged as a leader. He wears the A. There's no C on this team right now. He's the only A. Certain guys, to me, they fascinate me, not just in sports but in life. They're better than the sum of their parts. Other people are friggin' geniuses and can't do anything. What makes Scotty Lawton, who's not the fastest, strongest, biggest, or anything, such a great hockey player?
I I mean, it's probably a combination of things. Probably common sense, intelligence, competitiveness. Probably has underlying leadership skills, and so guys gravitate to him. We had Wade Allison on a few weeks ago, and he spoke, glowingly of what Lotz has done for him. So, you don't always have to be, the goal scorer or the most skilled guy, but if you bring it every day and you carry yourself that way, and you can hold your teammates accountable.
John, did you ever play with a guy who, you're physically imposing, Keith is physically imposing, somebody's like a Gretzky, 6 feet, 170 pounds, not the strongest, biggest, or fastest, but somebody whose contributions were far more than physics would dictate?
You mean as like an undersized player that gave you more, or just a player that to a teammate he gave much more than the people perceived him to do?
The second one, yeah.
Play with a ton of guys like that. You look at a lot of your penalty killers, your third and fourth line guys. Those guys are what win games for you. And there's a list that is endless. Going back to Montreal, playing with like a Guy Carbonneau or a Mike Keane, those kind of guys. Here at the Flyers, when we were shutting guys down, that was Preem's job. He shut down all the top lines, killing penalties. Back earlier with Sean Podine, Joel Otto, and Trent Klatt, those guys, they had a purpose when they're on the ice.
All right, you guys both played through a lot of years with the Flyers. Ron Hextall, 1987, was the Conn Smythe winner, and until Carter Hart, the Flyers were perceived to have a goaltending problem. A lot of guys came and went. Flyers made mistakes with a couple, like Bobrovsky. Have the Flyers solved their goaltending conundrum? Obviously, who knows what Sam Erson's going to become, but a young Carter Hart, John, do you think the Flyers have solved their goaltending problem for now?
I think they have an answer. He seems to be the real deal. I think he's definitely an NHL #1 goaltender. 2 years ago, last year, they're like he's going to be the next Vezina trophy. Just go on and on. I think he's run into some bumps. I think he's handled them really well, and we'll see.
Keith, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think we had the discussion before where he was in front of not a very good team last year and still put up pretty good numbers after the year prior, where he really struggled. So he's seems to have found his way. I'm with Johnny. He's definitely an NHL goaltender. He's could be part of the solution. Whether he's a Vezina candidate at some point, I don't know. But he's on the right trajectory.
How cool would it be for your son, Caden, to play with the Flyers?
For me, it'd be really cool. It'd probably be cool for Caden too. He grew up a Flyers fan, and as did all my kids, and Philly sports fans, and Chase living out in the Midwest. All his teammates know that he's Phillies and Eagles, and so it'd be very cool to see him play in a Flyers jersey, but it's also very cool to see him play in the National Hockey League.
And you got a son right now under the Golden Dome, but not playing football, not playing basketball. Tell us about your other son.
Chase, who's a couple years older than Caden, and is was a late bloomer. Was able to play at the University of Nebraska Omaha for 4 years and get
Omaha.
Yeah. Omaha, get his degree from there, and because of COVID, was afforded the opportunity to play a fifth year, and he chose Notre Dame, and he's there getting his master's in nonprofit. So we're really proud of him.
That's true. A master's in nonprofit.
Yeah.
What's that?
So nonprofit organizations.
You can get a master's degree in that.
Yeah. Huh. And his degree's in supply chain. So to me, it's
supply chain. That's the place to be right today.
Yeah. So I think there's it's a good combination.
All righty, Johnny, you played a bunch of years, 16 years in the NHL, 10 with the Flyers. You played with some guy named Eric Lindros, that's it, with the Legion of Doom. But you guys both play with Eric. Taking Eric out of the question, and I could be taking the wrong guy out, but other than Eric, who's the best guy you ever played with? Best player you ever played with?
Best player?
Yep. Assuming that Eric is the best player you ever played with. Yeah. If I'm wrong, tell me.
Probably be Rex. Rex, the guy he had 3 points every night, it seemed like. Really did. And he was a good penalty killer. He could play both ends of the ice. Played with a lot of heart. Really good leader. Rex was a pretty top. He's up there on the list.
I think, and I played with lots of great players: Sergei Fedorov, Steve Yzerman, Ronnie Francis. The list goes on and on. But Johnny's not wrong, and I think Rex may have been underappreciated because of I don't know why. The '98 Canadian Olympic team, he was left off originally, if you remember.
Yeah.
Ask 1,000 people who holds the Flyers record for points in the season. I mean, Flyers fans, and you won't have anybody talk about Mark Recchi, but he holds the record. Yeah. Just kind of flew under the radar.
And he was, my best year offensively in 15 years was playing with Rex. He just found me, I'd stand in front of the net on the power play, and he'd find my stick, and I just had to tap it in.
It is amazing. I mean, give me a young player on the Flyers, guys, with Morgan Frost and Cam York and Wade Allison, who we had on the show, and plenty of others. Give me a young player that's caught your eye, John.
Honestly, over the last little bit is Tippett. The way he shoots a puck.
Strong kid, too.
Yeah,
like some
I like his game. I mean, I think he's played pretty well, and he's finding the back of the net.
I thought he was a good pickup when they got him from Florida. I knew his background in Ontario, playing in Mississauga, and then I'm a big Wade Allison fan. Not just because we visited with him. I like the college kids. I think they come with a certain level of maturity, and he certainly sounded determined to be an everyday NHLer.
I want to get this off on my chest before the end of the show. Somebody asked me once, like I'd have any idea, what's it like and why are certain guys 50-goal scorers in the NHL? So if you want to ask someone what a putz is like, I can give you the answer to that. The other question, I'm not sure. Johnny, what's the difference between somebody with a great shot, somebody who's a goal scorer, and somebody who's a 50-goal scorer? Why did you do that 3 times? What one thing did you have?
I don't know. I think there's a knack. I mean, like there's just some guys have a knack for it. I don't know if it was that or what, but I watch kids shoot, and they shoot right at the chest sometimes. It seems like common sense, but you can tell a kid, I don't know if they don't see it the way I do or not, but it's obvious.
Keith, is there something a goal scorer has that's kind of intangible?
It's a unique skill set. Not everybody is a goal scorer, and Johnny was a goal scorer. He could shoot the puck, and he knew where to put the puck. And it was heavy. So, and that's not all goal scorers don't shoot the way Johnny does, but there's skilled guys who are goal scorers. They have an ability that others don't.
It interests me as someone who understands physics, whatever, that 2 people can both have a 105-mile-an-hour slap shot. One guy's shot's called heavy, the other guy's isn't. The same projectiles moving at the same speed. What makes a shot heavy and others aren't?
I'm not sure about the heavy, but when you talk about the guys have the same, there's a lot of other things, like the release is the biggest thing. I mean, the point where the release guys, some guys change the point real quick. Those are the things that separate a guy that just walks up and blasts it, kind of thing.
All right, we have time for one more second. Got to ask you guys one question. Alexander Ovechkin passed Gordie Howe, passed the 800-goal mark, moved in the second behind Wayne Gretzky. He's 37 years old. Built like a truck, built a little bit like you, John LeClair. Is he going to break Gretzky's record, Keith?
I think so. I didn't know he was 37, but I think he'll beat it. I think he'll break it.
Johnny?
I don't see how he doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he'd tail off this year. I mean, is he leading their team in goals right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Got to be, yeah.
So, I mean, he doesn't seem like he's slowing down.
And the owner is committed to...
He's going to be in there a wheelchair with an empty net.
Yeah, exactly.
Empty net goals, you got to love those. All right, guys, it's been wonderful having you here. Flyers play the Blackhawks tomorrow night at home. John Tortorella's team playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. John LeClair, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. You come every year. We appreciate it. Continued success for yourself, for your kids, for everything. And keep rocking on, my man.
Appreciate it. It was fun being with you guys. Thanks
very much. And Keith, thank you very much. See you again in a few weeks. You're going up to Canada, huh?
Going to spend a few weeks at home, yeah.
At home in Canada. Home for me, Washington. I got to spend a few weeks there, too. Not right now, but in the future. Keith and John both spent time on the ice. I spent time talking about it. I'm Paul Jolovitz. Thank you to whoever you are for watching this show, for listening to this show, for coming out to Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown. For Independence Blue Cross on the Ice, I'm Paul Jolovitz. For John LeClair and my co-host Keith Primo, Chris Thurman produces this fine program. Keith Noonan back at the station. And until then, we'll be back with you next week with another Flyer. Until then, Go Flyers. Have a great week, everybody.
You've been listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.